What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Be the Fish. Chasing Hardware is back, and so is the stash. If you guys haven't seen the first tournament this year, the first series, if you will, for Chasing Hardware, I will link those down below. But we fished the Bassmaster Kayak Series on Lake Murray and did pretty dang good. Third place out of 258. We'll freaking take that. I learned that I really love Lake Murray and love the Carolinas. So we are headed back. We are headed back to North Carolina this time, to Lake Norman. If you guys saw, I actually fished Lake Norman on my way down about a month ago to Lake Murray. But this time we're headed down for a different trail, the Hobie Bass Open Series, which you guys have seen me fish a bunch on this channel. We're headed down for our first Hobie BOS of the year on Lake Norman. We just went to Morgan Marine because we're in quite an interesting situation. It is early April, so chances are these fish are probably going to be spawning. If not, you're going to find a good bite shallow. There's really not going to be too much of an offshore deal going, I don't think, on this one. At least one that's going to be consistent and have potential winning fish. So with that said, my situation is interesting. My Hobie Pro Angler 14, I have the new 360 XR currently being built at Morgan Marine, and unfortunately we have some new stuff for this year that isn't in yet. So instead of making Ryan and his amazing team, who does an incredible job putting my kayak together every year, because if I did it, it would be horrible. I'm really bad. I'm only good at jerry rigging things, and it's only a temporary fix. Instead of making them go and re-rig everything just for me to use it for one tournament, Ryan and Morgan Marine are letting me borrow a Hobie Outback for the weekend. So that being said, I'm actually really excited about this, to be honest, because we're going in basically forcing ourselves to fish shallow. You guys know me. I like both. I love fishing offshore. I like using electronics, but I also love getting up shallow and catching them with big line, power fishing. However, you guys know I like to catch them regardless of method or technique, but in this one, it's forcing me to go shallow, no electronics whatsoever. I will state it now before we even get to Lake Norman, that I'm going to be using my phone. And I will say what I'm going to be using my phone for, as I have, of course, the Omnia Fishing Premium Pro app that's going to help us kind of decipher temperatures around certain parts of the lake. Really a good research tool. But then we're going to use the Humminbird One Boat Network app, because LakeMaster VX is by far the best mapping out there. And this is going to be essentially my fish finder. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be marking waypoints, because I'm assuming these fish are going to be shallow. I'm going to have, I'm going to say, knock on wood, hopefully we'll get some bites shallow. And I'm going to be marking those areas like I would be on my fish finder on my phone. So I'm going to try to show the chesty and prove that I'm not just going off of waypoints given to me, but I'm using that as a tool. And also trying to show you guys, you don't need a fish finder. You don't need all this stuff to go catch fish. So basically, what we got going for us is we have the Outback, our phone with the One Boat Network app, and we'll have a Yak Gear stakeout pole as my anchor. And that's basically going to be it beyond my rods, reels, and tackle. And I'm really freaking excited for that. It's going to be able to help me just kind of focus shallow, go burn a bunch of water. Guys, I'm really pumped for it. But that being said, I'm also really pumped to show you this new kayak build for this year, because it's going to be pretty crazy. We got a couple things. It's actually the day before we leave for Lake Norman. We have to get an oil change. We got to pack the truck, which is actually going to be nice, being that I'm not bringing all this gear. The truck's going to be pretty open. It's not going to be jam-packed like it usually is. So we're going to do all that, and you'll see us tomorrow as we get on the road for Lake Norman. All right, guys, it is 1 o'clock in the morning. We got everything ready in the truck earlier today, had work today, so didn't get on the road till like 6 p.m. and I was pretty busy. And the time that I did have, spent it with the wife before we left for 4 days. So right now we're in West Virginia. We got about three and a half hours left till we get to the ramp. At some point I'm gonna stop at a rest stop and get some sleep. We stopped to get some more water and a snack, but we're gonna try to grind out maybe another 2.5, 3 hours, find a rest stop, sleep there, instead of going and trying to sleep at a ramp that I don't know, I've never been to before. It's a little bit safer to sleep at a rest stop versus random boat ramp. But we're grinding out the drive here through the night nonetheless. And the plan is we have 2 days of practice. Tomorrow we got a full day of practice where essentially, if you guys saw, like I mentioned earlier, I believe I mentioned, we got the Hobie Outback for the weekend. So we got no electronics, no nothing except our Yak Gear stakeout pole, our Humminbird One Boat Network app for mapping, the Omnia Premium app, and a thermometer to tell me the water temps, because we're gonna be sticking shallow, running and gunning, and hopefully trying to find some spawners as well. That's at least the plan. And then we'll use Friday to figure out whatever we see tomorrow, use as adjustments, or go try a brand new area. But there's a lot of research going into this one, not much practice time, but nonetheless, I'm looking forward to it. I'm whooped. I'm gonna get on the road, try to grind out another 2 hours or so and get some sleep before we go and practice here, I guess today technically, because it's 1 in the morning. See y'all in a little bit. All right, good morning, guys. We got the whole mess back here. Well, we slept a little later than we wanted to. Sun's already coming up. You can see sunrise coming up that way. But I was so tired, I needed to sleep for a couple hours, and better safe than sorry. And honestly, if I'm that tired and I'm on the water, it's not the most warm of temps in the next couple days. Of course, I bring the cold front down with me. Isn't worth being on the water either. So I feel much better now. So we're gonna go in and get a couple waters here from this Flying J. Stopped at a rest stop. We got about an hour left. We'll get on the water this morning. All right, guys, we are here. Lake Norman. If you guys haven't seen, we actually fished here about a month or so ago. I'll link that video down below, but we got the Hobie Outback, like I was talking about earlier. We got it all rigged up. We're just gonna go drop it into the lake because I forgot my wheels and I forgot a paddle. So that's good. But as you'll see, there's no electronics on there. You guys know I love to fish both ways. I like electronics. I like taking them off and getting up shallow and power fishing. So we do have one fish finder. Well, I should say at least one sort of something to tell me the temperature, and that is thermometer. We're gonna be relying on the thermometer as well as the Omnia Premium Pro app and the Humminbird One Boat Network app. That's gonna be our fish finder. Beyond that, our fish finder is gonna be the baits that we got rigged up. Let me walk you guys through my Hobie Outback. So starting from the back, obviously, not too much going on here, but we have our Hobie H crate with all of our different rods and reels. But then coming up to the back, we got our measuring device, we got our catch board here, we got our kayak cushions here on the seat. Nothing too extravagant, but of course I love these little accessories things on the Outback here, having the 2 different rail systems. So I got some tools, dies, things like that. We got our soft plastic selection in here. That way I can save some room for my tackle crate to put stuff in there, use that as a main storage. Water, more spare tackle stuff, using these gear tracks for cameras, more accessories. Obviously we have our pedal system here, and then in the front hatch here I am simply just using that for more tools and accessories, scents, things like that, markers, super glue, things like that that I'm not going to need all the time, but I need to be at least in the kayak somewhere. Then moving to the back, we got our Yak Gear stakeout pole that I can use as a shallow water anchor. And then last but not least, my real Blaza camera boom mount here that goes out to the back. But we got all of our tackle and everything. Very simple. You don't need all the crazy gadgets. I'm excited to fish out of this thing. But we got rigged up a chatterbait, a jig, Texas rig, square bill, wacky rig, glide bait, mag draft, and a buzz bait. So it took a while to get prepped. We're a little late this morning, but we're gonna shut up and go get out on the water. So we're getting some stuff dialed in here quick before we launch, put on the PFD. But if you guys remember from the Lake Murray video, the Bassmaster Kayak event that was brought to you guys by Hobie Eyewear, they support me an immense amount and I really appreciate those guys. Been rolling with Hobie Eyewear shades for the past several years and I have 0 complaints. They're super affordable. You can beat the living snot out of them, and it's got top-notch lenses. So I'm gonna be rocking the new Hank Cherries. This is the new Bluefins for one specific reason, and these are brand spanking new. And the reason why I'm gonna go with these, it's overcast, it's about spawn time. That Sightmaster Plus lenses, holy moly. If you guys like to fish shallow, you like to sight fish, I'm just saying, check out the link below. You will not regret getting into these lenses. Whether these frames or not fit you, check them out. They got a whole bunch of different ones. But let me tell you, if you're a shallow guy, get that Sightmaster Plus. It is always takes a little bit longer. You guys know I've talked about that before. First day of practice always takes a little bit longer to get ready to go, just for the pure fact that new fishery, well, especially in this case, new kayak. So I'm kind of getting things settled in. I haven't used an Outback in a couple years now. And so I'm just adjusting here, ready to rock. Try to make sure our setup's good. But for now, it's looking good. I'm liking it. Obviously a little bit more claustrophobic, but that's okay. I'm actually really excited for it, for the pure fact that I'm always rolling a pretty big setup. I always bring too much gear, and this is gonna force me to be simple. And God, I love fishing simple, but my brain just doesn't cooperate much. But we're here, and it's forcing us to do so. So let's go do it. Let's go see what we can find. All right, guys, we are coming back down this creek arm that I wanted to fish, and throwing a mix of a couple different things, some laydowns, secondary points, throwing a jig on a more bluffer wall right now. And I'm looking back in the end of this creek, and there's bait blowing up, so it's a nice welcoming sign. But I know there's also striper in here, so I gotta keep in mind of that. But it's gonna suck if these fish are literally sitting in pinch points and saddles, because one, I don't have the technology with me, and it's what sucks about that is that I know other people do, and there's some hammers in this tournament that are going to be able to find that, if that's still a thing, which I'm positive it is. Someone's going to be throwing a jig head minnow and catching these fish. Oh, I just lost a good one. All right, that was probably a 17, 18 incher on the jig. So like I'm saying, I'm gonna be using my One Boat Network app from Humminbird to mark waypoints. And that's how I'm gonna be marking fish this week. Let's see, if that fish eats again, then it is definitely on a bed. He barely ate it though. Barely. Because I went and hit him and saw him come up and flash on it. So he must have just had the tail, which means they're probably on bed. Welcoming sign. Let's just go down this bluff wall a little bit further and see if we get bit again. It was a good tick too. It was like, boom. It's a good sign anyway. Well, as I say it, as I turn the GoPro off, we got a good largemouth. There it goes. This water's warm, at least compared to the air. I mean, there we go. How about that? Heck yeah. All right, we need to practice putting a fish on the board. I'm gonna do this right here and go. It's a 19 1/4. Yeah, 19. There we go. Thank you, bud. That was 2 bites pretty quick. All right, good to know. I'm gonna put the jig away because 1's an accident, 2, so you got a good idea, 3 is a pattern. But we're gonna take the Texas rig, being that it is literally 2 days before the tournament, and especially if fish are spawning and you're not on a warming trend, I don't want to keep sticking these fish. So I'm gonna dig. I buried my hook in this plastic, and then we're gonna see if we can't get another bite, and we'll just shake it off. Wind's starting to pick up. Got munched. I tried to eat it, whatever it was. Yeah, there you go. But I just don't know. It didn't get it, so I don't know if it was. I feel like a striper would have got it, where a spotted bass could have bumped it. Now to go find more bass. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I just got a largemouth trigger on this glide bait, about the same size as the one I caught earlier. That's good to know. I think that fish is out of bed. That's good to know though. We'll eat the glide. I worked that glide so slow. Just came up and I had it for a second, the hooks didn't get him. If I could do that, I mean, buddy. Well guys, it's really freaking windy right now for where I've been trying to go check out. At least like where I want to launch, where I actually want to fish. Actually, it's wind protected, which is nice. And honestly, it's already 4:30. I went and checked out a bunch of different ramps, just scoping out some different stuff that I wasn't looking at, that I was on the way. So checking out some different ramps, things like that. Really, it's just fluff and stuff I don't think you guys really cared to see. So I just literally pull up the ramps, walk the bank, see what it looks like, see the water clarity, kind of get a gauge of where some trucks are, like in regards to how many people might be fishing certain ramps, type of deal from a pressure standpoint. The place I want to go tomorrow it's the one area I really had picked out that I want to go check out for this event. I went and found that there's a place you can go and fish off a dock that's public, and I scoped it out, and the water is pretty dang clear. Like, it's probably 5 or 6 foot visibility, if not maybe a little bit more. And one cast I took with the glide bait. Unofficially my personal best spotted bass. Caught that sucker on the glide, and it, dude, when I tell you, it had probably a good 5-6 pound largemouth with it. I think it was a largemouth. If it wasn't, then that was a gosh dang big old spot. But it had a giant with it. I think it was a third fish there too. It definitely gave me some optimism for that. And shoot, if it comes down to me having to throw the glide all tournament and, you know, hero zero, I ain't afraid to do that. That is for dang sure. But that is gonna be, it's gonna be some optimism for what I'm gonna go check out tomorrow. Tomorrow being the last day of practice, of course, and having registration. Probably a short practice video for you guys on this one. But nonetheless, we got to head to the Airbnb now. We'll walk you guys through that. And then I think I gotta go head to a Bass Pro Shops before I go get some groceries for the week, because I need to go get some more glide baits. I was throwing a Spro KGB Chad. I'll link it down below. But that's the only one I have in bone. I have a couple like ghost gizzards and stuff that I'll try, that I'll rig up tomorrow. But I mean, you just need to have more. You need to have backups, because the last thing you need is like to them only be chewing on that one in bone, and then, you know, you break off or cast off or whatever, and that's the only thing you got, you know? So I need to go and hopefully stock up. Well, hopefully that Bass Pro Shops actually has them in the first place. We're gonna figure something out one way or another. That got me really excited. So I think, looking at it, judging from that, from a preconceived judgment here before going out tomorrow, again, this could change entirely. It might suck tomorrow, and it might be just I got teased with that one little group of fish. But sounds like it might be a glide bait, jerk bait, spinner bait, jig, wacky rig type of deal, which, keeping it simple and go cover water, I mean, twist my arm. But that is the plan for right now. We're gonna go check into the Airbnb, get some of our stuff dropped off, and we're gonna get rolling. We'll chat with you guys in a little bit. All right, guys, we are wrapping things up, watching a little YouTube. We got Cooper Gallant's fork video, trying to feel the big bass vibes going into this weekend. We saw some good things today. We did. We caught that one that was 19. We put that on the board to try to get used to measuring fish on the Outback. We put that on the board. It was a 19-incher. We lost one before that. That was probably, I mean, if that fish was 19, probably around it was like 17 or 18 inches. Had about a 4-pounder, smashed the glide bait, barely had the hooks. That was pretty sick. And then, of course, caught that spotted bass that had a giant largemouth with it. Later, where I'm going to be going tomorrow. I just went to scout a bunch of ramps, and I went and checked it out and made one cast and caught that. So I'm like, it's a good sign, but who knows? We're going to find out tomorrow. Game plan is we're going to go launch over there. It's a place I've been eyeing for the month leading up. It's a place I've been eyeing the month leading up to wanting to fish this event. So basically, I think tomorrow what we're going to do, we're going to bring glide bait, probably going to bend in the hooks. Glide bait, mag draft, wacky rig, maybe a jig, probably a jerk bait. We're gonna go pretty light on tackle and just cover water. We're just gonna go see where fish can show themselves, see what the water temperatures are, see what fish are doing over there, because it's gonna be a cold morning. I think it's gonna be like 37, 38, but it's gonna get up into the 60s, I believe. So it's gonna be a little bit nicer than today, not as bad of wind. Friday and then Saturday and Sunday are gonna be pretty low wind, much better than today anyway. So it is much nicer looking at weather-wise anyway. Still gonna be cold Saturday morning. Sunday's supposed to be a lot better, I believe. But the game plan is tomorrow is go mark as many areas as we can that we know hold fish. Try not to catch too many, but we're gonna talk to you guys throughout the whole thing and try to give our download of what's going through our brain. Because then tomorrow, I mean, basically we have to be off the water at 4 o'clock because then we have registration at 5:30, I believe. And we got to run to tackle shop, try to go grab some tackle. Well, we'll see how tomorrow goes. But we might have to go get some more tackle, get some more glide baits. I got a few, only one in that bone color. So we'll see. Maybe we'll go back on what we just said and have 2 glide baits rigged up for tomorrow. Either way, great day one. We're wrapping up down here. Got some dinner, had to do a bunch of work. Nice part is I don't really have to rig tackle or anything for tomorrow. It's got super easy, being that we're in the Outback. No graphs, no batteries to charge beyond camera stuff. Pretty hyped about that. But it's gonna be an interesting day. Looking forward to a full day out on the water. Come along, we'll see you guys bright and early. All right, guys. All right, day 2 of practice. The last day of practice. We're running a little behind this morning, at least than we wanted. It is officially 6:54, so technically lines in would have been for the past 20 minutes. I went to the first ramp, and which we were told on an email last night that you're allowed to launch there, but it doesn't open until 9 a.m. So obviously we didn't go there. It was gated off and everything. You could sneak around, but I'm not trying to get in trouble or anything like that. I'll call the tournament director in a little bit. Once it gets a little bit later, don't want to wake him up. He works his butt off. For a buzzbait, we actually lucked out on a different ramp. You're not allowed to launch here in the tournament for whatever reason. not allowed to launch here. But I pulled up and the owner was right here. I'm like, hey, you cool if kayaks launch here? He's like, yeah, man, like, that's perfectly fine. Pay $5. Of course, I didn't have $5. I had a 20, so I just gave it to him out of saving my butt a little bit and said thank you. And hopefully that's my good juju going into this tournament. I'm gonna throw buzzbait around a little bit to see if there's anything crazy we can get on. We're back where we caught that spotted bass on a glide bait. Let's see what the water temp actually is. At least surface temp anyway. So right now, after a high 30s morning, it's around 59, 60 degrees. So it's not terrible. Break out the Mini Max. I don't throw the Mini Max too much, but in an age where everybody's throwing the dang jackhammer, I figure I might as well try it. Something a little bit different. We're just gonna cover water today. This is an area I really wanted to fish, but yesterday it just didn't make sense to go fish it. On my way down, I wanted to wait till the right weather day to, of the 2 days of practice, I should say, to fish it. I don't want to fish back here too much, so I actually want to come back later and see if I can actually just see fish. It makes me think I should get out of here, actually. We'll come back in this pocket later in the day and just see if we can look at them. We're gonna bend the hooks on our trebles of our glide bait. That way we can't hook any fish. Well, we'll see what happens. It's actually really, for being, it was like 37 degrees when I left the house this morning. I think it was like 42, 43 when I got to the ramp here. It's actually pretty comfortable. It definitely helps that I got the Gale Blackfish bibs on, because the Gale version isn't as waterproof, but it's straight like wool, like fluffy wool. It's actually pretty incredible. So I'm nice and toasty. Well, top water is working. That is good to know. Cold front is not affecting this spotted bass any. Decent little fish. It's probably like a 15, 16-inch spotted bass. It was literally like my 5th cast with a little evergreen shower below, his little pencil popper. That's awesome. Just working it super slow. This little secondary point. That's good to know. That's freaking awesome. Oh, I saw another one blow up on it. Are you kidding me? You're gonna tell me I can throw top water right now when it's freaking low 40 degrees? I just had another one come up and freaking count me in. So in thinking that's 2 blow-ups pretty quick on this little top water, little secondary point. If that is the case, and I caught that fish later in the afternoon in a pocket, if I came here tomorrow, which the action already seems hotter than where it was yesterday, could start on the secondary points and potentially work back in the cuts later in the day as that sun gets up. I'm gonna work some of the pockets here now too, a little bit with this pencil popper, and just kind of see if I get bit back in them. We obviously know that they're there from yesterday, at least in the one that I fished anyway. But if they're in multiple, that could be our game plan, is do this till the sun comes up and then go shallow with a big swim bait. I'd like to see if I can't get bit on something finesse too, like a wacky or shaky head, Nico rig, something that isn't power that I can use as a backup. Just that way I have options. All right, same little point. Just went back over, but deeper with the jerkbait. Good to know. Not bad. All right, we are back in a cut. I just went in throwing a swim bait out of curiosity. I got bumped a couple times. It's a little bit colder in here, but the water clarity pretty good. And I found like a 2.5 pound male with like a 4 or 5 pound female on a bed. And so I'm taking my hooks off here. What I'm gonna do is, I'll show you guys here in a second if I can get my line. It's freaking cold. So I took my hook off my wacky rig, so I casted at that bass that was on a bed and immediately just turned on it, started swimming towards it, and I reeled it back in before I could eat it. So I did. I took a VMC crossover, tied directly to it. That way I can have the wacky rig presentation but have no way of hooking these fish. So like when I go and fish docks blind, then I have a means at least to present the bait but not hook any fish. Because there's some things I just want to try out, like if I want to fish a certain stretch of docks and just see if I can get bit. This is going to be able to help me do that without sticking any fish today. A little something something for you guys. Damn. Well, we're done throwing the glide for today. We are done throwing the glide. Gosh dang, that's a nice spot. It's a dang big one. We're around some good freaking fish. Definitely not gonna treat it like that, like I just did in a tournament. I was just trying to get away from the dock, and tournament I would have just flipped that sucker right on in. But that's like a probably an 18-inch spot. Heck yeah. Sweet. Thank you, sir. That was cool as hell. Well, I don't know how long this GoPro's been shut off, but apparently it turned off. I hope you guys got that glide bait catch. Dang. I guess we'll find out. Sorry, guys.
They're my favorite kind of bass to catch. I don't know, you're right. The dam down to where it connects to the lake, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Dude, I'm having so much fun in this freaking Outback. It really is. Like, this forces me to too, which is good, because like, oh god. Hold on, sorry. I have spotted back. We eat the jerkbait literally at the kayak.
You're good. Oh, I can hear it.
Yeah. It's a good one too. Here, let me FaceTime you. Actually, that's a largemouth. A teeny little largemouth. It's long though, I'll take it. Oh my god, dude. You see this. Hold on, I'm gonna FaceTime you in a second.
Okay.
See the way this thing ate this thing. Like,
Wanted it?
yeah.
Oh my god. That's a good tournament fish. What is that, about 16, 17 inches?
That's probably 18 and a half.
Oh, hell yeah. That's what you need right there.
Oh god. See you, buddy. Well, guys, I was on the phone with Rudd. I was calling Rudd just to catch up, and we're just chit-chatting. I'm literally just throwing the jerkbait, and I let it sit in front of the kayak, and largemouth comes up and eats it. Probably, it was like an 18 and a half inch largemouth. Had a nice little belly on him. So we're doing a mix of things, which is kind of nice. The little wind we got here is definitely helping some things. Got a little commingle of bites going on. I was telling him, this is my quote-unquote graph, my temperature gauge, which is a literal, like, you stick this in meat usually. And this is what I'm using to tell the temperature of the water. I absolutely love it. It goes to show you don't need all the fancy stuff. But it's nice though, we got a commingle of bites going on. Probably gonna stop throwing the jerkbait here so I stop catching some fish, but I was gonna see if I could try to replicate that a little bit. Might just be something I can do in between going from spot to spot, hitting on points for some bonus fish. But I'm just having fun, guys. I love fishing like this. I don't do it too much at home just because typically offshore is a little bit more consistent. Offshore fish are a little bit less affected by weather and such, more so wind, but less affected by temperatures and you know, weather per se. But we're gonna keep chugging along, checking out this creek. Wind's picking up a little bit, but we still got a few hours. We got about probably 3 or 4 hours until we are probably gonna call it quits. Go to a tackle shop, make sure we're all stocked up for tomorrow. If you guys are liking the video, give a thumbs up. Comment down below if you guys like the videos where I'm a little bit more simple versus going and using electronics. I know there's definitely some people that are against that, which I totally understand, but it's something I enjoy right now. But this is freaking awesome. All right, guys, we are back from registration. There really was no point to even show anything from it because literally I was in board check, said hi to a couple people and left. Got to see the folks at Hobie Eyewear, which is always a plus. Dylan is the man, and got to see them, shoot a little content, and we are back. Finally got all rigged up. I was gonna film me rigging outside with you guys, but one, the wind was blowing and it's basically almost dark. So now it's 8:30 here. We're getting some stuff downloaded to the computer, watching some videos of Damien Tao, who's a great YouTuber, kayak angler out on California, watching his Bassmaster Kayak Championship video while I'm downloading some footage. Because I didn't need to show you while I was rigging and we're rounding out this video, we're going full stacked rod lineup tomorrow just because I don't know what to expect in regards to adjustments. I'm hoping the goal is glide bait, mag draft, wacky, jerkbait. Hopefully that's only for, in a perfect world, I would throw the glide bait all day long. That was so much fun. I'm about to actually pull up the footage to see if I caught that big spotted bass catch off the dock on camera or not. I'm afraid I didn't because my GoPro had died. Sometimes I have battery issues in regard to, it's not a battery issue, it's a wire issue connecting to the GoPro. If you guys film GoPros, you know GoPros are funky. So essentially, hoping throw the glide bait a lot tomorrow. I had a lot of follows and a lot of bumps, a lot of fish that tried to eat the glide but couldn't, obviously because the hooks were rolled over. I have, I think, 9 or 10 rods rigged up. The goal is to only use a couple of them. Definitely won't have 10 come Sunday, I hope. We have glide bait, mag draft, wacky rig, shaky head, drop shot, jerk bait, 3 different bed fishing rods. We got a free rig and then 2 Texas rigs. And then we have a fluke. I think I missed something there. I think I missed one of my fingers. I'm not the brightest, but we also have a fluke tied up and a top water. So maybe I have 11 rods. Either way, we got a good sample selection to go through tomorrow and try to do our best to capitalize on bites, especially try to get big bites. It definitely seems like numbers are a deal according to some people. So I'm hoping, tomorrow's gonna be similar conditions. Let's see, we got pulled up for tomorrow. We have in the morning, we launch at 6 a.m. So it's actually gonna be 39, 38 degrees. So only a couple degrees off from yesterday. Full sun all day long. And it's gonna get a high of 61, which is gonna be the end of the tournament. So it's gonna be in the 50s most of the day. Pretty on par to today. Wind wise, let's see where we're gonna be at. There's gonna be some decent wind, but it's gonna be too bad. It's gonna be, again, comparable today, stable conditions. So I don't see any reason why it should be any different from yesterday. I say that, knock always, but the goal is we're gonna cover a lot of water, hit a bunch of high percentage areas that we found today and see what we can make happen. I think it's gonna be a numbers game. At least I hope it's gonna be a numbers game, but it sounds like a bunch of people catching them. I just think it's gonna be a matter of who can run into size. There's a lot of, it's who can run into that 18 to 19 inch spots. I've heard guys are catching 20 to 22 inch spotted bass, which if that's the case, damn. But I think someone who's gonna win is actually gonna be on largemouth predominantly. So, which we're around some of those. And it's gonna be just a matter of capitalization and hoping that we get the same amount of bites as we did today, if not more. Either way, I had so much fun today, even though I didn't catch many fish, because in practice, you don't wanna catch too many. But man, I wish today was a tournament day. That would have been a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Not a big, long practice video, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I appreciate you guys always tuning in. The next video will be day one of the event. Please like this video, subscribe, and we'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.